finally here, and as you head to and from the stadium to cheer on your favorite team, NHTSA would like to remember and remind you that there are risks to driving drunk. So this season, let's all make sure to drive safely and responsibly, drive sober, or get pulled over. All right, we'll get to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys in a second, but first, Braves, Marlins. Adani Echeverria makes a diving stop. That's what, Canty, I should have had you read the baseball stuff. Throws to first. Nice.
That was a heck of a play right there, man. The Braves are going to be one of those teams that's going to make some noise in the National League when we get to October.
Oh, yeah.
Really good team.
Cleveland Browns making headlines, but also making plays. Baker Mayfield makes a throw over the middle, picked off, though, by J.T. Hassel.
I don't know if this one's complete here. Did it touch the ground?
I think it touched the ground.
I think the ball did, but I think the ball moved a little bit.
All right, staying in Ohio, Hilliard Bradley High School, Tayshawn Mayfield, great one-handed catch.
What's that,
come on, Tayshawn.
It's a great catch.
Oh, yeah, he went up there and got that one now.
Yeah, I saw yesterday we had all this debate about the gloves and the technology. Do y'all think all these kids can catch it?
That's why I said, what's that? See, that's a nice catch, but
come on,
is he Odell Beckham?
Nah, that's a nice catch right there. You can't take
That's a nice catch. That technology's helping out.
He needs to be in the NFL right now.
Oh, that's a good catch.
That's not a glove helping him out.
All right, on to the Cowboys. After rookie running back Tony Pollard had a strong preseason showing, Jerry Jones joked around by saying Zeke who to media members. Zeke and his agent reportedly did not take too kindly to this. Here's what Jerry had to say when asked about Zeke feeling disrespected.
I've earned the right with Zeke to joke. Period.
Right.
I've earned that.
So, have you guys had any conversations since then at all?
No, no. Okay. But let me be real clear about it. I've earned that right to joke.
All right, see, so is Jerry right that he earned the right to joke about
I do
Zeke?
know this in conversating with a lot of people in my life. Anytime I was in a conversation and they said something and said, period, they weren't expecting me to say anything afterwards. Period. That's it. Now, Jerry, I got a lot of respect for Jerry. And the truth of the matter is, he's been nothing but a fan of Ezekiel Elliott before he even drafted him. When they spent that #4 pick on him, people at that time still felt like the league, the running backs aren't worth that. They are not worth that high of a draft pick. Jerry said when you find someone special, watch him rush for over 250 yards against Alabama so he can play for my Cowboys. All the off-field stuff. Remember all the investigation. All along, Jerry was headstrong. Nothing's going to happen to Ezekiel Elliott. And I had to tell him, hey, he's going to get suspended. He's going to miss some time based on the information that I had, that based on the evidence that he was going to spend some time on the sideline. Jerry supported him, supported him, supported him. This latest incident, he supported him, supported him, supported him. So, yes, Jerry has earned that, not just in Ezekiel, but what he's done with other players who had situations issue. Jerry Jones is one of the greatest owners that's ever owned any type of professional team. So in handling this Zeke situation, Zeke is trying to reset the market. Jerry realized this can be a competitive team for the next 2 to 4 years. I'm not going to blow it by blowing up the salary cap the way I did a number of years ago. We just got it where we can manage it. They got about $25 million before they signed their linebacker. They got $75 million for next year. The pie is only so big. So for me, yes, Jerry, as a Hall of Famer, man, he's one of the best ever. And there's no owner. Tell me an owner that supported their players in good or in bad better than Jerry. And I know Canty, being drafted by the Cowboys, would have similar stories as far as Jerry and what he's done for players in their lives.
Yeah, CC, I can't think of another owner in sports that supports their players like Jerry Jones does, especially when it comes to Ezekiel Elliott, all the off-field incidents that he's been involved in, the domestic violence allegations stemming from back with his girlfriend in Ohio State, the incident that he had on St. Patrick's Day, pulling a woman's top up, of course, this latest incident in Vegas at the music festival. Like, it's just been issue after issue in terms of dealing with the problems with Ezekiel Elliott's immaturity, and Jerry Jones has supported him at every turn, including being willing to go to bat for him against the other owners and the commissioner, Roger Goodell. You remember a couple of years ago when they were trying to work out the contract extension for Roger Goodell, Jerry Jones was the one that was front and center and said, hold up, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes on this because of how Roger Goodell was treating Ezekiel Elliott. After the NFL did their investigation of the Ohio State situation, remember, the investigator for the NFL, Keir Roberts, she didn't recommend a suspension for Ezekiel Elliott. They went ahead and suspended him anyway. And Jerry was outraged, okay? And so he wanted to make those feelings felt by the rest of the people in the National Football League. But that's him supporting his player. That's him having his back. And so in order to return the favor, Ezekiel Elliott decides to hold out. I can understand why Jerry Jones feels, in a way, disrespected just because he's tried to support Ezekiel Elliott publicly the last few years.
I think a lot of people, when you're that wealthy, you feel like you got the right to do whatever you want and say whatever you want. So I think that's part of it, too. But I do agree with you guys. It's not only, as you mentioned, CC, it's not just Ezekiel who he's supported. I mean, he's got this history of supporting players, you know, taking care of them financially, but also when they run afoul of the law or whatever it may be, he's always been there to support him. So he is definitely right in that. But here's the thing. Here's the problem I see with it, that it was public. And I think a lot of people understand it was a joke. I think there was a little message there for Zeke. But the fact that it was done publicly, Zeke, I think, no matter how cocksure you appear, in a holdout, you're a bit fragile because you know you don't have your name on that dotted line. You want that money. You know you could spend your prime years, get used up, and not get paid. You saw what happened with DeMarco Murray. So I think he's fragile, and when it's said publicly, the media sometimes blows it out of proportion. Some media guys, rather than looking at it as a joke, they will, you know, really take it, oh, he really thinks Tony Pollard could potentially replace Zeke, or, you know, and it takes on a life of its own, and sometimes takes on a meaning that the person that said it, Jerry Jones in this case, never even meant for it to be. He may have 100% meant for it as a joke. I think there was a little something in there, but I'm not going to make too big of a deal out of it. However, I get why Zeke still is a little bit bothered because he's in a sensitive position right now.
See, I asked these two this yesterday, but right now, considering the regular season has not started yet, who has the leverage? Is it the Cowboys or is it Zeke?
It's always the Cowboys until you start the season. He's got 2 years left on his contract because the truth of the matter is Jerry Jones is going to pay him. But Jerry is telling him, you're not going to put no gun to my head. You're not getting ready to force me, because Zeke is in a respect type of mode. Because he knows Dak is getting ready to get twice as much money as him, and even though Jerry thinks Zeke is a better player, like, that's hard to stomach. And with him saying the things that he said, I could see why Zeke and his agent, because they were probably heard the comments together, why they would take exception to it. But until they start the games, man, it's the Cowboys. But once you start playing for real, and your championship hopes are playing at home, winning your division, you lose that first game, all right? The defensive line's got problems. Man, we're talking about Zeke and Dak and all these things. That defensive line is a problem. They don't have a starting four right now. We had to start and play a game right now. So how are they going to be against one of the better runners that we have in the league against the Giants opening day? That could really swing it in Zeke's favor then. But until you start playing these games, the owner, the Cowboys, they are in the catbird seat right now.
Yeah, they have all the leverage because they're the ones that's going to decide to cut the check. But the fact of the matter is, Jerry Jones is the owner of the team. So Ezekiel Elliott can take it as a sign of disrespect that Jerry Jones is making that jump. But the fact of the matter is, but just because he's not taking the negotiations or your holdout as seriously as you want him to, doesn't mean that he doesn't have the right to make those comments publicly. I mean, ultimately, Jerry Jones is going to probably make him the highest paid running back in the National Football League. He is the best player on that team. but I think that Jerry Jones is also publicly trying to send a message that this is not how he wants players to handle contract negotiations. This ain't how we want to do things here with Dallas. And he said it yesterday in that soundbite after the fact that he said he earned the right to joke. He said nothing will be bigger than the team. The individual's needs don't come before the team's needs. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are publicly sending a message to Ezekiel Elliott that this is not how we're going to do things at the Dallas Cowboys. Not this season and not into the future.
Well, and I think that's why you've heard the comments about Dak are so glowing. He deserves to be a top-tier quarterback as far as salary, even though we know he's not a top-tier quarterback. And then with Zeke, it's been just the opposite. Even yesterday after they signed Jalen Smith, you know, the pie is smaller now. Make no doubt about it. You know, he said a few things. Jalen understood that, you know, we got a lot of good young players and we have to all take a little bit of a haircut, I'm paraphrasing, to get all of us under that cap. So he's sending messages to Zeke. Just like you said, if Zeke was still, you know, demanding or wanting a new contract but was in camp, I don't think Jerry would be talking about it the way he is right now. And he's upset because he feels disrespected too. Because like you said, all I've done for you, the way I've backed you up, and this is how I get repaid. You got 2 years left, a franchise tag. We could have 3 years of control as far as your career, and this is how you repay me. That's how he feels.
And you mentioned some things as far as, I know in the substance abuse field, Jerry has walked hand in hand with a number, Randy Gregory. Me, Jerry, Randy Gregory, last year, man, we had a lot of knockdown dragouts, and Jerry is behind and supporting his players like no other owner in sports. So he has earned that right, Chris.
All right, coming up, is AB really all in with the Raiders? We'll discuss that next on First Things First.
I'm gonna call God.
Oh, this is why we need you back.